बराह रास्त आपको लिए चलेंगे UN सेक्रेटरी जनरल एंटोनियो गुतेरेस और वज़ीर ख़ारजा बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी की मुश्तरका प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस जारी है.
For which they are paying a heavy price in their lives, in the form of their lives and their livelihoods, is not a catastrophe of their making. The climate change issue that affects the world today, which has caused these monster monsoons, are the result of the industrialization of far bigger countries than Pakistan. The people of Pakistan contribute less than 1% to the global carbon footprint. And while this crisis is not solely of our making, surely the response to this crisis must also be a global response. And with the help of the United Nations Secretary-General, we look forward to working with the world, with the global community, to build back better, to rehabilitate and reconstruct the lives of our fellow citizens so that they can withstand extreme climate shock like these going forward. So once again, Secretary General, sir, we're incredibly grateful for your time and for your visit, and we'd like for you to share a few words with Pakistan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the media. We have declared war on nature. And as we see here in Pakistan, nature is striking back with devastating consequences. Climate change is supercharging the destruction of our planet. I've seen many humanitarian disasters in the world, but I have never seen climate carnage on this scale. I have simply no words to describe what I've seen today. A flooded area that is 3 times the total area of my own country, Portugal. Over 1,300 lives were lost, tens of millions of people homeless, 1/3 of this vast country submerged, livestock and crops wiped out. But behind these numbers lie unquantifiable depths of human suffering. But I've also seen great heights of human endurance and heroism, from emergency workers to ordinary people helping their neighbors. Of course, we can quote numbers that are appalling, but this is a question about people that suffer. The families that have lost their houses, or members of the family. The farmers that have lost their crops, or their livestock. Those that have no longer the livelihoods they need to sustain their life. And at the same time, the most emotional moment for me during this visit was to listen to a group of women and men that have sacrificed their possessions, the possibility to rescue things from their own houses. They left everything to help neighbors to be rescued, to help neighbors to come out of houses that were falling apart and to be able to reach safety with them. This extraordinary generosity of poor people has touched me deeply, and I hope that this example will be followed by all those in the world that have power to support Pakistan in this hour of need. I want to pay tribute to the gigantic efforts of the Pakistani authorities, civilian and military, national and regional. I also want to thank the civil society, the humanitarian organizations, and also my UN colleagues who have rushed in, and I also want to take profit to thank all those donors that have started to support Pakistan in this terrible hour. The needs are enormous, and I urge massive and urgent financial support for Pakistan. And this is not just a question of solidarity or generosity, it is a question of justice. Pakistan is paying the price, of something that was created by others. I have called this a monsoon on steroids, and there is nothing natural about disasters of this scale. Climate change caused by human activity is supercharging storms and catastrophes in Pakistan, but also in Chad, the Horn of Africa with their terrible drought and the risk of famine and beyond. All these countries did not cause the problem, that they are paying the price. These extreme weather events have the fingerprints of human activity all over them, specifically the burning of fossil fuels eating our planet. The G20 countries are responsible for 80% of today's emissions. 1%, 80%. And developed economies are responsible for the vast majority of greenhouse gases throughout history. Here, from Pakistan, I want to reinforce a clear point. Wealthier countries are morally responsible for helping developing countries like Pakistan to recover from disasters like this and to adapt, to build resilience to climate impacts that unfortunately will be repeated in the future. As is painfully evident, those impacts are skyrocketing. People living in high climate vulnerability conditions, including in South Asia, are 15 times more likely to die from climate impacts. Nearly half of humanity is now in this category, the overwhelming majority in the developing world. As Pakistan is deluged, as famine stalks the Horn of Africa, rich countries must step up adaptation finance.
अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा के सेक्रेटरी जनरल और वज़ीर ख़ारजा बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी मुश्तरका प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे थे।